to talk with you. I love Ted Lasso so much, and you're so funny. And in my research of like looking back at the show, it's been a few months since I've watched it, but I realized that Higgins is the catalyst for a lot of the action this season, like almost everything that happens. And the first thing I thought of was he's the one who suggests the sports psychologist, Dr. Sharon. Yes. So, which helps the team, but also kind of upends the team in some way, in a good way. So how is Higgins more in tune to everything that's going on with the team than everyone else?
Well, he's the wise counselor in a way. He's been a fan of the club for a long time, and he cares about them enormously. And there's more of that to come. And it does seem on the back foot, really. So, as you say, it's almost invisible, an invisible touch that he has. But you're absolutely right that he instigates an awful lot of major things that happen, and a domino effect that can run throughout the whole series for good and or bad.
Yeah, he's even like the one who tells Coach Beard like his concerns about his relationship. I think when everybody else kind of sees that it's questionable, but he's the one who just comes out and says it. Do you think this is a ballsier Higgins in season 2 because maybe of what he went through in season 1?
Oh, certainly. He's been given a lot of confidence by Ted and his magic wand of enabling people and uplifting them. It's funny. I had a bit of a sort of conversation with my wife because she when we watched that episode. She said, I don't think Higgins is right there. I think Ted is right to say none of your business. But I said, well, I'm not sure. I'm obviously defensive of the character, but maybe he is sticking his neck out a little too far. But then again, Beard's relationship with Jane is hugely, adolescent and a little bit toxic. So
yeah.
As the kind of relatively more mature character and father figure, he does step in there. Yeah.
Yeah. I even love I was rewatching the scene last night where, your character has no place to sit throughout the entire season. And then in the one episode where he's in the closet working and Jamie Tart comes over and they talk about his dad, which is such a great conversation. Again, you're giving advice. And Higgins says, or Jamie says, open or closed with the door. And Higgins says, closed, less questions. And at first I was thinking, is that pertaining to questions around why he's working in the closet, or less questions pertaining to the advice he has to field from people all the time? And I thought it could go 2 different ways.
Yes, it could. Yes. No, I presumed there would be less questions about why you're in the closet.
Yeah.
Physically. I guess, I don't know. I think Higgins is reasonably open. I can't think of many scenes where he's deflected a personal question. He's quite, he talks about the history of his romance with his wife.
Yes.
Very, very openly, and volunteers it. So no, I think it is just that. I think he probably wants to get on with some, pragmatic kind of, stuff, clerical stuff for the club, and doesn't want to talk about why he's in a cupboard with a lot of stationery equipment.
I think he loves being asked questions and giving out advice, because even when Keely comes to him for advice about Rebecca, again he gives great advice, and I think he loves that. But I actually had a question about that, where he tells her, a good mentor hopes you'll move on, a great mentor knows you will. How has his opinion of Rebecca changed over the course of the 2 seasons? Because I think last season at this time, he would have been, maybe not saying as many nice things about Rebecca.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I think from afar, as far as my backstory goes, there's a whole thing which has not been sort of quite given any closure about what Higgins did before the series even started with Rupert and all the machinations going on there. So I think that he's felt from her for afar, but then working with her more directly in season 1, saw a very, very vicious side, but has come through because of Ted's again sort of domino effect of forgiveness and acceptance and understanding. That's empowered a lot of characters and put them in a better place. So their relationship is in a good place. There are still kind of boss and PA kind of frictions, which are adorable. But yeah, it's definitely moved on up. Yeah, from them both.
Yeah, I love that. So I think one of the biggest shifts for a character this season was Nate, and watching watching that happen. And since I was saying how Higgins is so attuned to people, how much does he recognize this shift in Nate before? Do you think he sees it before everyone else, or do you think it's Coach Beard that mostly sees it?
I don't think Higgins is quite onto Nate. There's nothing script wise that has acknowledged that. Really.
Yeah.
And I think Beard is closer to him, and a little bit. Beard is a little feisty guy, so he's aware of any kind of like toxicity, I think. But no, I don't think Higgins is quite onto that, and
that's interesting, since he's on to everything. He seems to know everything. I wonder why. It's like,
I know, but I think it's particularly about Nate's relationship with Ted and the not accepting this male figure, this father figure, and the signs, as for viewers, the signs, of course, have always been there about Nate, and then you can trace it back, and he's got this slightly belligerent father who's a difficult man. So you can see the trajectory of that very, very clearly. But for Higgins, I think he's got his eye on other.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Well, I just have like one more question. You've spoken so great about all these things. So you kind of mentioned this in the beginning. So what are we going to see from anything you can say about what we can see in season 3 from Higgins? And what will he find a desk? Will he find a place that he can sit?
I think he probably does, but it's not so much fun to see him in his office.
Right.
You do. I mean, you do see him. I think it's in the last episode when they're auditioning for new mascots.
Yes, that's right.
You see him in his office there. But
the dogs, they poo everywhere, so he has to leave.
That's right. That is true. Yeah. There was, in fact, a bit of pooping that did actually happen, of course.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, those little puppies were they're very nervous puppies. That breed, the greyhounds, very, very thin-skinned, and after a bit, one started panicking and the other one started panicking. So there was a bit where I had to go, which we ADR'd, we put on afterwards, which when Keely tells me the news about the job, I had to go, oh my God. And so I just mimed it because I thought, I'm going to freak the hell out of these dogs. So I literally, I had to stick on that. I mimed that and went,
Oh my gosh.
It was so shaky and, so sweet, but kind of, you felt for them,
Yeah.
But no, I can't give too much away, obviously, but
yeah.
What I can say is that the dynamic changes because you've got Nate leaving, and Keely is still on side with the club, but has got a different role. So it changes around, character interaction. So that's really, really healthy, and it's always great to move it around like that.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait. So Yeah, thank you so much for your time. And I just love the show so much.